You see this here Hatted Snow Queen Beastie BT 1000 right here? This is Wendy Looper, 45 years old, from Florida, of course, because the South is a ratchet, dirty, disgusting place where all sorts of evil happens. The devil lives down south. I'm going to read to you what the Daily Mail wrote. A Florida woman is facing battery charges after an attempted tryst with her ex-husband at a storage unit facility ended in a violent argument because they couldn't agree on a position to use for sex. Wendy Looper, 45, was arrested for domestic battery on Saturday night after an argument with her ex-husband, Michael Vaccaro, in the rear parking lot of a storage unit facility in Bradenton. Looper and Vaccaro, who were married for 12 years, were at the facility to retrieve some of his things. The couple, who had reconciled in the past 6 months and started having sex again, were parked behind the establishment when they decided to get intimate. Now, according to the Smoking Gun, the Manatee County Sheriff's Office report said, quote, Looper got undressed and asked Vaccaro if he wanted to have sexual intercourse. Vaccaro agreed and told Looper to lay down. Looper did not want to have sex in that position and stated no. Vaccaro was upset she turned down his suggestion and left to take a walk, quote unquote, to avoid an altercation. After they began to argue about what sexual position to use, the Bradenton Herald reported. When Vaccaro finished his walk and returned to the vehicle, Looper told him to collect his belongings and said, "Fuck off." When he asked her if he could have a ride, the suspect then threw an unknown object at the victim's head and drove over his right foot when she began to accelerate, with Vaccaro still halfway inside the vehicle. Police arrived and found Vaccaro with a bloody head wound and a swollen foot. Looper told the deputy Vaccaro wanted to have sex with her, but could not explain how he got injured. She was booked on the misdemeanor battery charge and released on a $750 bond. Wow. So let's get this straight. This woman can hit him in the head with some shit and run over his foot, damn near kill him. I mean, he's hanging outside of the car. He could have died that night for multiple reasons, between being ran over, between being halfway inside the car. That's another way he could have died. He could have been strangled with a seatbelt or anything like that. He could have fallen out to his death, and she ran over his foot. It could have caused a blood clot. I mean, there's all sorts of ways this man could have died. So let's get this straight. When you're a Snow Queen beastie, you could run people over and do all this other shit, and then they release you on a $750 bond. Imagine if the man did this shit to the woman. People would have been calling for the police to just go ahead and sodomize him with the batons right there, or just shoot him in the head. Just kill him right there on the spot. They would have been calling for the police to do a lot more than what they did. Now, I'm not saying that I wish that the police would have committed some violence against this woman. I'm just saying that that's the way shit goes here in America, where you can't say or do anything to a woman, but women can do whatever the fuck they want to you. And when you have the complexion for protection, you get released on a $750 bond and what some would consider to be attempted murder. But of course, she's not going to be charged with that. Let's pay attention to the fact that this woman is literally a hair-hatted beastie. And you know who won't be making a video about this shit, right? Toast. Yeah, the guy who talks about hair hats and Beastie BT 1000s. That fucking weirdo piece of shit won't be making a video about this for some odd reason. Oh yeah, because the people he worships and wants to emulate are involved in the story. So he's just going to ignore this one, you know, like he does story after story. And I see stories like this like basically every day or every other day. But anyways, let me know what you think about it all below. Be sure to subscribe to the Meat Magazine YouTube channels. Visit meatmagazine.blogspot.com for more. Ooh, gotta love white people. They're so trustworthy and they never do anything wrong. Even though I see stories like this basically every day. Hate to bring race into it. It's just I keep seeing videos by black racist YouTubers who try to pretend like as if, you know, these crazy news stories are just a quote unquote black thing, when I just see people in general acting up in the world. So there seems to be a much bigger problem than a quote unquote black problem. So I figured I would bring some awareness to this stuff again. I used to make videos like this back in 2013, but I'm definitely back at it. Let me know what you think about it below. Meat Magazine.